Evening all, welcome to Kicking Dust. Right, excuse my gravelly voice, I'm a bit hungover again. But we're going to show you, I think today, something that's quite cool. Well, we've shown it before. It's Dust, and to be honest, what we're going to show you is a bit of mass driver footage. I have switched to the mass driver, and I'm rather proud of it, but we've actually been doing some quite interesting tactics with this. So anyway, that's the running order. Anyway, bro, how are you? Are you still enjoying Dust? Post in the comments, tell me. Lots of people kind of getting a bit jaded. Jaded? That's a funny word, isn't it? I don't actually know what jaded means. I think jaded means kind of, I don't know, gemmed, edged? Who knows? But basically people are getting a bit fed up with Dust. So post in the comments, tell me how you're feeling about it. I've got to admit, I mean, we played yesterday. Stefan's doing the event, so I ran my Logi support kind of character to kind of give him as much chance as you could to kill many dudes. And to be honest, yeah, we probably played, I don't know, 20, 30 games, maybe more. And we just played continually. And I would say that out of, let's say we did 30, because it was around that. Let's say out of that 30 games, we probably had 10 really good games, like, you know, just amazing, excellent games. Doesn't matter if we won or lost. We had 10 or so games that were just, I think, exciting and, I don't know, just a little bit kind of fun. You know, everything about them was fun. It was a challenging map, or it was maybe just a funny map. Maybe we did something fun. And I would class this video you're seeing here, this game here, was an example of those kind of good matches. Yes, it was kind of a, I guess we did win, but it wasn't necessarily the winning or losing that matters. In fact, that's never really been an issue, to be honest with you. That is actually worth just mentioning right now, is that when we play this game, we don't mind if we win or lose. We really don't, but we want a good fight. And I think that's really the categorization of how this kind of, quote, good fight, which is a really long-standing meme from Eve, is. And I think, to be honest, this is why we do relish the game. It is a great game, and I kind of sit here and I get a little bit kind of choked up and ragey over the fact that it is such, at its core, this is such a great shooter. It really is. I mean, look at this. We've snuck up on some dudes. It's so difficult to sneak up on anybody in the games nowadays, but look, with this we can do it. And look at this, just shock and awe, crazy kind of, you know, massed death guns. Look at that, it's brilliant. I love it. And I think, to be honest, that is what, that little moment there is what people play Dust for, because it does have moments of pure excellence and just such good stuff. But I guess it's just the waiting time between those events to get to it, if that makes sense. One of the biggest issues that I think a lot of players have is that it could take all night just to have one moment of, wow, that was amazing. And I don't really know why. I couldn't tell you why. I think it's just because there's so many different ways that people play the game, and often you'll find that if you're playing if you're not playing in a group of people, you're going to end up in a kind of risky situation where you just end up on the crap side of a double team thing. Do you know what I mean? So to be honest, I think the biggest culprit is still matchmaking. I know it's very difficult to kind of get a code or a calculation or an equation or an algorithm that actually does it right. But I guess if we could just get it a little better than it is now. Maybe squads is something that needs to be factored in. I don't think squads is a factor of matchmaking at all. Look at that guy shot me through the wall. Oh dear. And I think if we could make it so that matchmaking maybe does take into account the maybe the fact that people are in squads, that would be a good thing as well, because I do find that generally you get like 2 full squads on one team and just loads, 16 randoms on the other, or maybe a couple of people ganged up, but certainly not full squads. And I think a full squad is always going to be vastly more efficient than, say, 8 couples in a match. Do you know what I mean? It's like that. I had to do the maths in my head, and seriously, it hurt my head doing that. Anyway, I think that's kind of the issue, is that there's just a little bit of a kind of lack of fairness on that front there. But anyway, who cares? I think, to be honest, the game is still incredibly good fun, and I do like it. I know some people have got very, 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 and then one more, very upset at the fact that I've been saying Dust is dying. Well, I don't do these videos to upset you, bro. Seriously, I'm not that much of a troll, but I think my problem with it is that it feels like it's tailing off. which I hate because I love this game so much, and I think I just wish that it could continue, and I think that's my issue. It's kind of like, I guess, when anything that you love starts to come to an end. So, you know, that is just the part of the process of having to accept that it's kind of over. And I think Dust is not necessarily over at all, but the reality is that in the long term, its future is very uncertain. You know, I think you could be playing Dust for many months to come, to be honest. But the reality is that eventually they're just going to have to say, well, we've got Legion now. If you want to play this IP, you need to go to Legion. But there is one further thing that I want to draw out with Legion that I think a lot of people have not understood yet, is Legion will play nothing like Dust. And this is an important point to make, because you've got to think of the difference being maybe Call of Duty, the original Call of Duty game in World War II, and Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Totally different feels of gaming. Totally different ways to play. You're not going to have this kind of melting pot, this pressure cooker of forced together gangs. In Legion, you're probably going to be able to just keep away from people. In Legion, it's a PC shooter, so, you know, we are going to play some more PlanetSide 2, because PlanetSide 2, I think, is exactly how Legion will feel, because it's a PC shooter. And already, just looking from the tech demo that they showed at FanFest, I think, to be honest, you can already see that the sheen and the polish and the fact that it's on the PC means that you've got higher frame rates, you've got maybe a kind of less clunky feel to it, whereas that is actually the nice thing about it, is this clunky feel. I personally think that. And I think, to be honest, this is where I do have a slight concern that the game they're creating to replace Dust is nothing like Dust at all. That is a big fear of mine, huge fear. So, you know, let's see what happens. But I just want to be very clear that I think, you know, the worst thing that can happen is people think, well, I'm just going to play Dust when it comes onto the PC. Well, no, it won't be Dust. It'll be something else. And it'll probably be better. It'll probably be much more fun. But I would say, at the moment, what people kind of celebrate in this game is that, yes, you get like, you know, quite incredible fights, because everybody is jammed together into a match. That's no choice. You have to do that. The only game you can play is fighting other dudes. There's no escaping anyone. And as soon as you make it so that you can escape someone, I think actually that probably will mean the death of the IP as something that we know. It will just then migrate to something else, which, you know, again, I don't have a problem with, but I'm kind of sad for it a little bit, because it does mean the game won't feel like this. Anyway, there we go. Yeah, I think that's always the thing to bear in mind, is that a lot of people are just kind of thinking, well, all of a sudden there'll be a switch flicked, and the game will suddenly be on PC, and it will feel exactly the same, it will play exactly the same, everything about it will be exactly the same. And the reality is, no, it won't. It will be very different, and it will feel different, and it will run differently, and it will control differently. And, you know, there could be a chance where, in theory, you're never going to be able to have like a real melting pot style of fight, or kind of fight, compared to how you can in this game, which is kind of like every other game is a melting pot fight. And there you go, new meme enters the Dust 514 universe, the melting pot fight, which is pretty much true, because in this game you are all jammed together with no choice, and you have to fight. It's kind of like, you know, the Russian army in Stalingrad. Here's a gun, go fight. And I kind of think that has created a lot of the culture and the feeling of this game, is that jamming together. So there we go, we lost. It doesn't really matter, does it? It was a hell of a game, huge fun game. And I think this is a great example of, I think, some of the fun that is still happening in Dust. So there we go, post in the comments, tell me what you think. Do you think Legion will feel the same? Maybe it will, maybe I'm talking absolute shash. So post in the comments and let me know what you think. Hope you enjoyed that. We'll see you next time.